And welcome, everybody. Welcome back to these Agile Testing Days 2024, reporting from Potsdam, Germany, where I had the opportunity to catch not one presenter, but two at the same time. How lucky am I? So I have here with me my amiga and coworker, Nicole. How are you, Nicole?
Hola a todos. Hi, I'm Nicole van der Hoeven. Thanks for having me here. And we
Yay!
have somebody here who just turned up, and we were too afraid to tell him to go away.
Just tagging along, I've been made very welcome, so it's okay. Chris Stone here, another speaker at Agile Testing Days.
Yeah, we are surrounded by lots of. I mean, you cannot see behind the camera, but uh, speakers all over the place. Speakers.
We are everywhere.
Do you remember the Toy Story meme? I feel like showing
Yes.
speakers,
Yeah.
speakers
Speakers
all over,
everywhere.
everywhere, all behind us. So we have some more adventures, some more sharing of experiences, and sharing more about the presenters. Would you mind introducing you a little bit more than your name? Who are you? What do you do? And what makes you special?
Well, I'm going to give that to you.
Who am I? What do I do? And what makes me special? So, I'm Chris Stone. I'm British. What makes me special is I am endlessly creative and very, very passionate about continuous improvement. So that's my area of expertise. It's what I do. I've created everything from a Queen retrospective to a Tetris retrospective to drinking game themed retrospectives and
Wait, drinking retrospective?
drinking game themed retrospectives. I can
Okay.
teach you if you'd like.
It sounds
You
interesting.
know the game Never Have I Ever?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, well, you say never have I ever done an act that you want to learn if your friend has actually done. Never have I ever gotten drunk, right? And you drink if you've done it. You can use that as a drinking game. Never have I ever skipped a retrospective.
released with the defects open.
Mm.
Never
Never
have I
have,
ever.
Tested in production
never have ever released a bug into production.
or tested in production.
Exactly, tested live in production. Don't do that, folks.
What
Uh,
do you mean? Sometimes you have to.
sometimes you have to. Never have I ever felt unsafe to speak in a meeting. So if you had a beer right now, you could be like,
And then
and then you observe. You observe. Hey, what have we learned from that? There's lots of us drinking right now. Is that something we should be talking about?
How come I don't have coffee?
I
Do you
don't.
like? I can get you a coffee.
Oh,
You carry on.
oh,
I'll get you a
okay.
coffee. Don't worry.
Great. I'm black, no sugar.
So
Wow,
while
it's that
Chris did
easy.
his introduction, never have I ever. It's your turn, Nicole. What's the deal with you?
My deal. What is my deal? I am a senior developer advocate at Grafana Labs with Leandro. We have worked together for a very long time. My area is performance engineering and also observability. What makes me special though? I don't know. I like to learn things in public. I like people. I like breaking things and then also building them back up again.
And
That's what I
breaking
do.
things with people in public
Yes,
altogether.
pretty much. I just think there's a lot of people for whom the tech industry is really daunting to get into. And I feel like if we just lower the barrier of entry and then we just learn in public, I think it would be a lot easier to invite these people to join us so that they don't feel like they have to be an expert to even begin, which you actually don't need to do. No beginner is immediately an expert, so
You wouldn't believe how many of the people that you meet on the stage are not experts, but just sharing an experience. And I think it's very valuable that you foster that, Nicole, because it brings the courage to everyone to be on stage and get some coffee during an interview. And it doesn't matter. We are having a good time, and this is awesome because it's natural. We're just flowing. I don't. None of this was prepared, and I
I
love
have
it.
not been briefed on what we're talking about,
I
but thank you for the
I
coffee.
prefer the chaos. I prefer the spontaneity, the random. Yeah.
Improvisation.
Exactly.
This
I
is
generally, what fascinates me when I speak to other speakers, everyone's got a process. So some people rehearse relentlessly to the point they are afraid they've over prepared. I never prepare. I thrive on, yeah, the pressure.
yeah. I feel you.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I had a co-presenter for my talk, and he's very structured. He's like, let's meet every week at this time, and let's do the slides beforehand. I'm like,
How did that even work? You're totally the opposite.
yeah, I am. That's why it was fun.
Ah.
I enjoyed breaking him down.
That was almost an evil laugh from me, but
Oh, you want to hear an evil laugh? I've got an evil laugh. Ready?
okay. No, but that was not
That
just
was pretty
evil.
good.
That
That's
was
pretty
also
good.
madness and a
Yeah.
little
Like
bit of
manic, a manic.
Maniacal.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maniacal.
So both of you are speakers, and I'm curious to know, since Nicole, you already started opening up a little bit. What was your presentation about? How did you torture your co-presenter?
It was actually about flirting with risk. It
Yeah.
was about the idea that testing is often very binary with a pass or fail, a yes or a no. And in fact, it could also be a little bit more dynamic. Flirtation is something that we do naturally as humans, and we
We
don't
do.
really think. Okay, for some of us,
Can you teach me how to flirt with risk?
I don't know. I'm not sure that that's something that I can do right now.
Maybe
And
later.
the live.
Yeah, when we're live. Something stronger than a coffee. But seriously, I think that we often think of flirtation in terms of a romantic sense, but actually flirtation can occur in professional settings. It is the difference between coming into a project and saying, "I'm here to tell you where your code is wrong," and building rapport instead, coming in and like being responsive to people's needs and getting them on your side and learning how to motivate them in a way that's more productive and collaborative rather than playing the blame game. I think as testers, we often come across too hard. It's our job to tell people where things are wrong, but if you inject an element of play into it and it's like, hey, I'm just messing with you, or messing around together, maybe we can just figure out together how to improve this thing, and I'm in this with you.
That's and has been a theme on many of the interviews that we have done during these days, where delivering those news and developing some empathy or flirting with the other side of the team that you have to deliver those news is an interesting perspective. I keep learning, and this is a very awesome thing from having. I'm getting like a short version coming soon in theaters from Nicole. What is the thing with her presentation? But you're getting all the bits and the important elements. I'm not saying that you should miss the presentations. If you are here, come and enjoy. But this is a super important part. I would have never seen it through the flirting glass, but
Yeah.
I love those perspectives. And
Well, it's also the first part is about flirting with the people, but also flirting with the system. Rather than running a test suite and just like having pass or fail all the time, you could run like a load test, and then based on the results of that, tailor the next test to it. I think it prevents it from just becoming a ticking the box. An exercise in filling out a form is way less interesting than actually being responsive to what the system is telling you and then pressing hard where it hurts.
it's a yeah, cause just ticking the box. And why did you test that? I don't know. It wasn't a checkbox I made. But when you have like this flirtatious passion to what is happening, I don't know. It gives some involvement definitely, and I think it's really important. What do you think, Chris? It's from that
So,
perspective.
what comes to mind is I was imagining what would happen if you combined your flirting talks and your flirting with risk with the Tinder retrospective. Like, what would you swipe
What's a
left
Tinder
on?
retrospective?
Well, what would you swipe left on as a team? Like, what's not working for us? What should we be ghosting?
Wait, what is? I don't do Tinder. What is left?
Left is bad.
Left is when
Left is
you
bad.
don't
Right
like.
is like right is I really like that person. I want to match them. So those are the good things about the team, how the team works. The ghosting are the things you want to get rid of. The term ghosting. You've got super liking. It's like you really, really like someone.
Okay.
Those are the things that we're amazing at. We should absolutely keep doing. So an element of flirtation with retrospection in a dating format. I wonder what that would look like.
I
Are
love
you
that Tinder.
proposing a merger of our talks?
A merge is a strong word. Maybe a flirtation. Who knows?
It's a match. Now, talking a little bit about the talks and what are the topics. What you're presenting as well.
I am
What's the deal
presenting
with you?
tomorrow morning. What's the deal with me? So, I'm speaking about scaling improvement, not scaling agile. There's a reason for that. In 2024, if I ask 100 agile people what agile is, I'll often get 100 different answers.
Yeah.
It's a framework, it's a methodology, it's ways of working, it's delivering value, it's sprints, it's time boxes, it's events, ceremonies, etc., etc., etc. Which means if agile people can't agree what it is, how do we expect people that don't understand agile to agree what it is? And then let's add in another layer of people don't buy agile. A leader doesn't say, "Hey, I want agile, please. 1 unit of agile, please." They want the outcomes that it brings about. And I don't know many customers that buy story points or agile units either. They want a product that makes their lives better, makes it easier, more satisfying. So agile is not the destination. It's a way of helping you get there. And my focus is on improvement. It doesn't matter which company you are, which industry you're in, everyone wants to get better at what they're doing in the direction of their goals. Now, research as of 2024 in September, someone looked at the top 250 FTSE companies, so the larger companies, and they looked at their values, the top values they listed. And agile wasn't there, continuous improvement was. So my focus is on how I help companies to continuously improve at scale, how they think big, start small, and learn fast, to quote Jonathan Smart in his book Better Value, Sooner, Safer, Happier, and to do so from a lens of human centricity because we are people first, employees second.
Isn't it interesting how you both are presenting towards like this? Uh, I don't want to call it failure, but these gaps that we have. Like you have to be flirting with how to deliver. You have to be aware of what is the true goal of agile, not agile
Mhm.
for the sake of agile. Um, why do you think that you both like came up with like this is important to kind of tell to the world and
For me, it was a response to what I'm seeing in the market. So we tend to respond based on what we're seeing people need for. That's basically being agile. It's being responsive. It's meeting customer needs. So if I and was observing a need for a more focus on continuous improvement, less focus on agile, then this is me responding. It's also what I'm passionate about. It's what I'm good at. So why not continue doing that?
hmm. And you, Nico? Why the flirting part? Now, okay.
Well, I just wanted to have fun. I think that we talk about work in such dreary terms. We forget testing is supposed to be fun. Being a tester is incredibly rewarding, and that sounds so cheesy, but like I think it's on us to find out the fun part of it and to steer in that direction. I think when you're a junior tester, you actually you pay attention to the framework and like how to implement agile.
What is
He's
going
holding
on
up
here?
a duck right now. Okay. Yeah, he has a thing for ducks apparently. um, but but I think the longer you're in the industry, the more you realize that it's not about the language or anything structured. It's really about responding to what the company needs, what the project needs, and if that responsiveness is gone, then your value as a tester is almost it's really limited.
You shouldn't be like only an automaton there doing automations and
Yeah,
uh, there's a heart on it and
yeah.
an importance. Oh, say careful with the mug because
He's flirting with risk.
yeah, but it's glass. It's breakable. Um, I mean, we testers break things at times and hopefully not live on screen. But no, I'm kidding. Um, Squirrel, what
Yes.
happened? No, I was saying it's important as well to, as you say, keep in mind what is truly important and not to just do it just because of a title or something. There was a conversation I was having earlier about some of the testers losing the sight of what is truly important, what is the human side of things. And no, I'm just, how do I measure myself? My value as a tester is the number of defects that I file, which I feel it goes a little bit aligned with what you're mentioning, like not to lose yourself and the nitty gritty and what's the big picture, right?
Yeah. I think you should talk about your duck theory.
Yeah, what was the deal with that?
So, there's a lot of physicists out there trying to come up with a unified theory of everything, like Stephen Hawking and otherwise.
Hey.
Ducks, that's the answer. That's it. Ducks. Everything is ducks. The world is
Yeah.
ducks, as you are being shown, people. No, these are just fun.
Yeah.
I go up to people at conferences and I give them ducks. I'm sharing my big duck energy with the world. What can I say?
Does it has to do with the dog developer thing that you had
I
to talk
mean,
to a dog and?
yeah, rubber ducking. There's
Uh-huh.
there's a link there, but no,
Okay.
it's usually just for fun. It makes people smile.
Okay, she knows how to focus the dog.
There we go.
Let's.
Get that duck seen.
Oh yeah,
Outstanding.
that's a
And
ducky
there are many more.
that Chris brought.
Lots more where those come from. All in my pocket.
And colorful, right?
All the
I
colors you
noticed
can
a
think
lot of
of.
colors.
Yeah.
Did you have a dice as well?
Oh, I've got two dice. One has a duck inside.
I
It's a
wasn't
six-sided
allowed to take
dice.
that one.
That's mine. It's special. And there's also D20, which is also great for chaos and randomness. I might decide, hey, should I go left or right from this bar? 1 to 20. 1 to 10 is left. 10 to 20 is right. Off I go. 11 to 20 is right.
I have a feeling that you can identify with a chaos agent or.
Oh yeah, absolutely. My ADHD just loves randomness, variety. So I'm not one for boredom and monotony.
Hmm. I think that there's kind of like a. Do you feel similar?
Yeah, definitely. You're talking about D20s and dice. I'm actually a big D&D nerd. I play 3 times a week. D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, is a tabletop role playing game, and one of the things that's cool about it is that there's one person that's creating the foundations of the story, but the other people, yes, the dungeon master is creating the setting, but everybody's creating the story together. And the thing is, because it is so interactive, you could script things out and say this is how it's going to go, but it you don't know what chaos monkeys are going to do if they're
Why don't
part
you
of your
look at him?
team.
And
Because I sit
I'm getting
on
the chaotic
alignment, I'm on the
energy.
alignment scale of like chaotic good, neutral, evil,
Lawful and chaos are
yeah,
on a different
yeah,
level.
I'm on the chaotic spectrum along that
Me
line.
too.
And I flirt across the boundaries of those. Sometimes,
Okay.
depending on mood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in D&D, how you handle it is you introduce some randomness. There's a concept of like random tables of different outcomes, and then you roll on that. And instead of having a predetermined outcome, you can let the dice decide. And I actually have something like that for testing as well, because I there's a book called Would You Risk It? Have you heard of it?
rings a bell, but spoil it.
Yeah, so it's about testing heuristics, but it comes with, there's also like a deck of cards that you're supposed to draw, and this is like bringing the element of play into your testing or just quality in general. The idea is that you pull out a card, and then it might have something like, have you considered testing fields for input that isn't expected, or whatever.
Mhm.
Sometimes there are many different things along that spectrum. Sometimes it's people, sometimes it's the back end services, sometimes it's the UI and accessibility. But the idea is to inject that creativity so that you don't fall back into like, here's my test suite, I'm just going to execute it like a robot.
It reminds me a lot of some of the keynotes that we have been witnessing. First, the one that Paul, that like the principles, and that how something that you would say it will always work, it doesn't always work, and aligned as well with Portia's play principles as well, where it's just like this playfulness of randomness and chaos that we are kind of. QA is gonna be chaos all the time. I mean, as many these what's the name, the matrices you drive, you draw and you define, there's always gonna be something sneaking in, and if you are not chaotic enough and moving around, they will always pass through you, right? What Chris, what do you bring with this chaosness, or
I think
what
it,
is
I
the
think it's
benefit?
the engagement, the variety, the new. It can introduce lots of creative ways of doing things or things you hadn't considered because as you highlighted, when you get stuck in your comfort zone, your I've done it this way, you are being victim of your biases often. The biases that you can't really control because they're just human. And it's kind of stepping out away from that can help you challenge those biases and appreciate different perspectives and things that wouldn't have otherwise come up. So I think there's a huge benefit in that.
How are you aware of those biases? Sometimes we don't even know.
So I think learning what the types of bias are. There's a great visual that I saw. It has like 260 of them on a wheel on a spectrum, and just being aware of the different types, and then uh, using those to understand which of them are impacting your teams. So these are the top 10 biases that impact teams in this scenario, for example, and just being aware of those and thinking, right, what examples of that have we seen in our work,
Hmm.
and how can we avoid that in future?
I also really like Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow. It talks a lot about the differences between slow thinking, which is methodical and logical and sequential, and fast thinking, which is more intuitive. It's informed by experience, but doesn't really follow a certain path.
Snap judgments and like
Yeah, exactly.
act on your feelings.
Yeah, but experienced guesses,
Hmm.
not just stereotypes. But I also really like Edward Bono's six thinking hats idea. The idea that everyone in a team should be wearing a hat, and this hat can be like a physical hat. There are different colors. He assigned a certain color to an attitude. So I might be getting the colors mixed up, but for example, there's the black hat of dissent. So the person that is wearing the black hat has the job of dissenting with whatever the popular opinion is. The idea with a hat is that there's a bit of a role play, there's a costume. So you can't be mad at that person. They're just fulfilling a part. And it's really interesting because you can have like a yellow hat of optimism. You can have a person that just looks at the facts, one person that looks at like the blue sky kind of thinking. And there are some ways to get to shake your team out of these biases and question whether or not you have fallen into like a creative rut.
I think it helps not only for the whole team, but you yourself sometimes like, huh, I think I should wear the other hat now. Like, oh, okay. And then you can kind of can identify or see if you force yourself into that perspective. And that aligns very funny with Dungeons and Dragons because you have the archetypes, a different type of characters. This one is strong in this
Mhm.
situation, this one is strong in this other. And you need a team with all the abilities to complete the quests and move on through the uh, game. I don't,
Yeah.
it's a game, right?
Do you play Dungeons and Dragons?
Never once in my life have I played.
Oh, you should invite
Okay.
him.
Yeah, we'll play.
I never played before, and I met her, and in the company there was like some games. I'm like, I kind of dig this.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and aside of just games or just having fun or just like a play situation, you learn a lot. There are lots of circumstances that if you're open to it, as we have been discussing, like the perspectives of the different character archetypes, abilities, the hats that you can wear, because in Dungeons and Dragons as well, like no, I'm a helmet now or a wizard hat or
Yeah. And
literally, right?
you respond differently in different situations. Maybe, if you're stuck on how to approach a problem, you can think, how would a barbarian approach this? A barbarian would charge ahead, like full steam ahead, forget everything, forget processes, get stuff done. Sometimes that brute force is necessary. A wizard would pull back a little bit and just be a little bit more strategic because wizards are squishier. They get one shotted, and so they have to
Glass
be,
cannons.
yeah, they're glass cannons, so they have to be careful and kind of plan out what they're going to do. There are times when that's the better approach, so you can like switch characters depending on what the situation calls for.
It's an actual effort that opens you up as well. I have a friend that is this way taller than me, muscular, like very manly voice. And one time they were playing and like, what character are you? I'm a fairy, and I'm like, cool. And he's like, that gives me another perspective or something like that. And I'm like, that's really cool.
Isn't there a great joke that if a group playing Dungeons and Dragons were facing a dragon, and you've got the barbarian rushes in, and then the bard comes up. I seduce the dragon.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's again a perspective that like maybe other people wouldn't have considered. I'm going to seduce that dragon, see
Ain't
what
that
happens
what
there.
happened in Shrek?
Yeah, but this is what I mean about like the flirting with risk part. The barbarian approach is not always the best way to get what you want. Sometimes it's not about tuning like performance optimization and tuning for the physical or computer components of a system. Maybe it's about properly motivating the human elements of a system, which sometimes is even more important.
Mhm. Now, to close up a little bit this talk, because we gotta be mindful of time. Uh, how do you think all these perspectives that we have been talking about interact with this conference stage? How do you feel that you get enriched your perspectives, visions?
So I go to so many conferences that I don't really go to many talks, just because I get more from the conversations in the corridors. But I do credit, I guess, the progress of my career to the exposure I gain to different perspectives, different cultures, different ways of thinking, different fields. And one of the things I enjoy doing is just being inspired by something random and then putting that into my own context and then creating something new in that world and then seeing the impact that has. So that's the main thing I gain is the networking and just the ideas.
Nice. Eh?
I think ATD is an interesting kind of conference because it's a conference that like makes fun of itself a little bit. I mean the mascot of the conference is a unicorn. It is unashamedly, yeah, oh yeah, here's a unicorn
Here it
right here.
comes. Do you have some words? No.
Well, I,
Sorry.
I think that the fact that it's a mascot tells you a lot. People here are really we really steer into inclusivity and diversity of thought and experience. We have talks about development and testing and management and ADHD and like a bunch of different things. And it's a lot more open than I think a lot of conferences are. And that's also why people keep coming back for the community, for this kind of exposure to different ideas.
It's in general, conferencing. It's a very rich experience, as you say, Chris. You get all this networking, different perspectives, learning of ideas that you're like, oh, I never thought of this that way, and opens the perspective big time. And agile testing days as well. I think it's that on steroids because you will meet lots of diverse people. I feel that openness that you mentioned, Nicole, that they can also like open even more, and you will see faces that some other places you may not feel so bound to open that much. And here's like, we, yeah, whatever. Be yourselves and interchange the beats. And which one do you identify with? What does Nicole's one?
I can't show that on camera.
That's a point, and you can have it here openly, and yeah, whatever, no problem. But she cannot. Yeah, the YouTube channel would be banned if we did that. But
I
and
did not
that's
make this bracelet, by the way. I was
it
just
was
given
given
it.
to her. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put the blame on someone else. We won't tell names yet, but no, I think the person is very open about that. But later, no spoilers. But now that we are getting to the ramp down of this conversation, would you like to give some words of advice, recommendations for posterity and for the audience that you would like to, our testers watching?
One of my biggest things I talk a lot about at the moment is do the thing, because you can go to meetings about doing the thing, you can talk to people about doing the thing, you can listen to podcasts about doing the thing, you can go to conferences about doing the thing, you can watch videos about doing the thing, but the only thing that does the thing is doing the thing. So if you want to change, if you want to get better at something, if you want to introduce something different, you've got to do it, not just talk about it. So do the thing.
Great.
Ooh, I'm gonna add to that, and I'm gonna say do it in public. I am a big proponent of learning in public. I think you shouldn't just do the thing; you should also do it in public, even if the thing that you're doing is something that you may not be great at. This is how you're going to learn. Putting things out there and inviting that feedback and inviting conversations about it is the fastest way to learn for both you and for other people who might be able to learn from your mistakes or your journey. So that, I think that applies to a whole lot of things, but especially, getting into tech.
Yeah, and it's super important because at times we are afraid of doing the jump or doing the things, or also being publicly ashamed of, like, I'm a human being, I'm learning, I'm getting there, and even if I am like quote unquote expert, I don't know everything. There's no way anyone will know everything about something. And being open and public about that, believe me, enriches you uh, like crazy. Be brave and be open. I love those two recommendations.
And it,
You want to, he wants to
I just
expand.
want
Yeah,
to add,
bring
I
it
just want
on.
to add, and it helps others feel more comfortable
Oh
doing
yeah.
that themselves. So if you lead by example and you are willing to be brave, do something out of the ordinary, make a mistake, fail, because everyone started somewhere first, it helps others feel more comfortable. And it's one of the things that I often talk about on stage. I'll talk about my biggest failure. I was about to swear. My biggest failure in the workplace, and it's always a funny story, and I'm happy to share it. So the most unprofessional thing I ever did at work. I was on a meeting with the previous clients, and I was kind of distracted. I was sending voice notes to a female friend of mine that I was planning to see that evening, very explicitly describing what we were going to do together that evening.
Okay.
And
Uh-oh.
then someone said, "Oh, Chris, you're not on mute." And my soul left my body,
Oh.
and I froze like that. And I had to apologize and say, "Look, I'm sorry, it's very unprofessional. It's not how I want to be in the workplace. It won't happen again." And I wasn't fired. Like the world didn't end. I did something bad. I owned it. I told people about it. And then I was telling this story on stage once and telling people about admitting your failures. And then someone said, "Chris, do you know your flies are undone?" And I was like,
Just at that moment.
you could have pointed that out earlier. I've told you about letting people know about failure." And then he said, "Don't worry, I thought it was a feature, not a bug." And I thought, "You, sir,
You
are a
designed the talk that
genius."
way, right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah,
exactly.
you were.
So
This went to a
admit your
very different
failures.
place.
Admit your failures. It's fine.
Well, I didn't expect
Okay.
this to end up in this way, but
The beauty of lives.
chaos, definitely. All this is like spontaneity and all the things that you are going to see and experience in these conferences. I love it. I didn't see it coming, definitely. So, guys, if anyone wants to give you some feedback of the things done in public or what you are brave enough to do, or ask about what they are doing, where can people reach out to you and find you, get these conversations rolling?
I am not on Twitter, haven't been for a while, so Mastodon probably. I'm Nicole at pkm.social, or if you do email, Nicole at grafana.com.
And for me, I'm on LinkedIn primarily, Chris Stone, and I think I've got like a little backslash Let's Improve is my handle there,
Nice.
alongside virtuallyagile.co.uk. If you go there, that's where I store loads of free resources, templates, and otherwise to continuously improve.
Excellent. If you want to continuously improve, ask a question, share your experience that you did in public, uh, please reach out. Check underneath here. There are their names if you want to look for them. And definitely stay in touch. Thank you very much for opening up so much with the audience. Love it.
I'm just beginning, my friend.
That's a point. Thank you very much again.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Gracias
Uh,
a todos. Is this in your Spanish channel or English one?
Both of them.
Okay.
So, está bien.
Patos para todos.
Patos para todos. Bien.
Para todos.
I love it. Patitos.
Damn. Same failing again.
Yeah, but the point was on the mark. So there you have it. These are the type of crazy, random, and very filling, lots of learning conversations that you're going to have here in these conferences, and especially in Agile Testing Days. Reporting from Potsdam, Germany, this 2024. Stay tuned because these are not the only crazy conversations that we're going to have for the day, I'm sure. I bet big on that. And thank you very much again. Gracias.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Adios. Take care. See you in a moment. And bye.